So welcome back to my channel. Something a little bit different today. Boys on film, but today boys on stage, I guess you could call it, because we are reviewing Heathers. Now you are a big fan of the movie. I've still not seen the film, which is shocking. It's a shocking admission for me. I know, I need to get with the programme. I saw a friend of mine, Polly, last night, and she was like, what? You have never seen the movie?
So
That's
this is going to be interesting because you have not seen the film.
No.
You have not seen the TV show.
No.
So your first foray into Heathers is the musical.
Yes.
Wow, that's incredible.
It is. It's interesting because obviously the musical, much like the TV show probably as well, I'd imagine, plays up on the catchphrases, and there are lots of catchphrases in Heathers.
For me, as a Heathers super fan, they are three very different mediums of work, all extremely different from each other, but kind of the same. Right. And I love it. So.
It's a really bizarre concept for a musical. That's what I took away from the musical, because musicals by tradition are very
complicated,
joyous,
isn't it?
And it's not really that joyous, the storyline. I mean, there are obviously elements of comedy.
Yeah, that's why you need to see the movie, because the movie is really the basis for everything. But I think you are a lot like the newer fans to Heathers. Did you find it interesting? For me as a Heathers super fan, and I'm sitting in the audience and there's all these girls dressed up in bright colors and everything, and you're like, what is going on here? Like, these are girls that are cosplaying as Heathers, and I'm sure their first foray into Heathers was just like yours, the musical.
Yeah.
And they're like super fans of the musical, have seen it like 4 or 5 times, and I'm just like, wow, like, to me, the musical is very secondary to the original material, but I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I really enjoyed it too. What you talked about just then was really interesting for me as well, because I love when people make an effort for something that they love, that they're passionate about. And to see these girls dressed up in the uniforms and really going crazy in the audience was a real part of the atmosphere for me, for that musical experience. And I think that's what I want a musical experience to be like, because people are showing their love for a production.
Yeah.
And I think that was part of its success. And obviously that is something that they want as producers as well, because that's drawn into the production, isn't it? Where there's a moment where they're looking out into the crowd and they're almost, it's an assembly scene, isn't it?
But I think the musical is probably the most joyous reinterpretation of the material, because the movie is not joyous at all. The TV show is not joyous at all. It's very tongue-in-cheek and very dark. You know, the musical is very light, and so I'm curious that, you know, just how your reaction of it, because it's all singing, it's all dancing, it's feel good, and with some dark humor inserted into it.
That's why I found it quite bizarre, because it is a bizarre story, because obviously it's meant to be, because it's a dark comedy. The movie is.
It's a very dark comedy.
My initial thoughts were, visually, the main characters weren't quite right for me from what I know from the movie, but then I'm not sure if I'm meant to be comparing it to the movie, because obviously there are fans there that know the film and love the film, that are there for that reason, because they loved the movie. But I wasn't quite sure that they got the look of the characters right.
It did feel very 1980s, but with a modern day twist.
I'm just not goth or rock enough for me, because obviously we had in the movie we had Christian Slater.
But he is the only sort of like dark character who wears black, who exists in the whole movie as well.
But in this musical, Jamie Moscato obviously plays the character, and he's more like, obviously with his trench coat and his black t-shirt, he's more like a Joy Division type fan.
That's fair,
and there's a reference to the Smiths as well at one point, where somebody's saying to him, you should be at a Morrissey concert. So obviously that has brought it more, although Morrissey was big in the 80s, I guess it made it more.
I bet you love that line.
Current. I love that line. I did love that line. But yeah, and Carrie Hope Fletcher, I mean, both brilliant performances. But Carrie Hope Fletcher's character, blonde, a bit more girly than Winona Ryder's character in the film.
Yeah, Winona Ryder was a bit more like slightly alternative.
A bit more edgy.
Yeah. First of all, you need to properly sit down and watch the movie. I think I'm going to put on Heathers movie night. We're going to all get together, invite Jeremy around, invite Sazzy around.
Yeah, I'm up for that,
we'll have a total Heathers night.
Yeah. But yeah, I did enjoy it, but it just felt very strange to have these joyous moments, and then ultimately the closing moments is like they're doing this kind of big jive to the fact that loads of people have killed themselves. It just felt very odd for me, but I quite like that thought.
That's kind of what's really good about it, because you're not supposed to be celebrating suicide at all, you know. But the fact that they have turned it around and made it into a really all singing, all dancing, fun fest is very ironic, and I love it. Like, I do want to see the musical again, because I saw it and I was just like, again, because I'm so true to the source material, I'm like, please don't fuck this up, please don't fuck this up, please don't fuck this up. But it was just, they just took it and kind of went in a different direction, and like the production for I Love My Dead Gay Son, like that was just hilarious.
See, that scene, obviously they'd modernised that because the film is politically, it's very incorrect, isn't it? There's a lot wrong with the sentiment of that of that film.
Totally.
Because obviously it was a different era back then. It wasn't a good way to
It's kind of like when teenagers now are watching movies like 16 Candles and The Breakfast Club going, go on, there's bits of that's racist. I'm like, well, it was.
It was that time.
Yeah, totally.
And I guess it reflected that time. But that scene was quite bizarre. I mean, tell us about what happens in the movie, because how does that compare, that scene?
Okay, so Kurt and Ram, they are known in the movie as the school jocks who just bully everyone,
spoiler as well, obviously, if you haven't seen either.
Sorry.
And that's well known.
But, so they go around bullying everyone, and in the movie, they go on a double date with Veronica and one of the Heathers, and anyways, they get drunk and they take the girls out to a pasture to tip cows. You know what that is?
I'm guessing, yeah.
So cows sleep standing up, and so when they're sleeping, you can tip them over, and it's a funny thing to do in the South. In America. So anyways, basically it's just a horrible date, and then so Veronica leaves with JD on the date, and the next day the two boys spread a rumor around the school saying that Veronica had a sword fight with Kurt and Ram, meaning so Veronica gets pissed because they're spreading all these rumors about her, so she invites Kurt and Ram to make the real thing happen, and God,
I'll never get over that image of you doing the sword fight.
And anyways, it's JD's idea that they'll make it look like a suicide by making them look like two gay lovers. Very stereotypical. This would not fly today, and it's not in the TV show either because it just wouldn't fly. And so they shoot each other with like fake beluga bullets, but Veronica thinks it's fake beluga bullets, but JD's like, I put real bullets in there, and they shot themselves, ha ha ha. And they leave like mystery items at the scene of the crime. So there's like a gay porno mag, there's like mineral water, there's a Joan Crawford postcard, and they make it look like, ooh, the two gay guys kill each other, ha 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 ha. It's so not PC for the day.
So they've obviously modernised that. Yeah.
So in the musical, they turned it around into this big all singing, all dancing, I Love My Dead Gay Son.
One of the most bizarre funeral scenes I've ever seen. Well, on stage, obviously.
It was brilliant. It was brilliant, knowing like how sensitive that could have been. Like, because they don't even really touch that in the TV. They don't touch that with a 10-foot pole on the TV show, but in the musical, the way they handled it was very well done. I was laughing. I thought it was funny.
Yeah, I my toes were curling a little bit because I just kept thinking, is this more offensive than perhaps the original version of that story, or is it? Does it make everything okay? And I wasn't quite sure whether it did make everything okay, because I guess the joke is about making fun of it because how could people have that attitude?
Let's look at the core audience for this musical. It is musical theater girls and boys. I mean, girls are going crazy for this. So they're basically interpreting it as, okay, these two dicks at school are spreading rumors about us girls, so we're gonna kill them and have them be like gay lovers.
Yeah.
Because it's funny, ha ha ha.
Yeah.
Mostly it's funny because they're dead now, not because they're gay lovers. It's just bizarre. It's so bizarre. If you've never seen this before, it could be really offensive.
Yeah, well, I just found it really shocking that there were a lot of young people in the audience. But then Jeremy said, well, you know, back then the movie was a big hit with a teen audience.
We were young people back then.
Yeah, but there were kids with their parents there, and
interestingly
for me
enough,
that just felt really
interestingly enough, though, this is a true story. Heathers did not do that well in the cinemas. Where it thrived was on video and on demand, because that's where the first time I watched it.
A cult favorite. Yeah.
It's like I used to rent it like 15 times before I actually owned a copy of it. So,
who's the girl that played, or who's the character? Is it Dumpster?
Martha Dumpster.
Martha Dumpster. The
Not
girl
Martha Dunstock.
And I don't. Well, that was obviously her nickname, but I don't know the girl that played her. But I thought she was superb, and I really loved her song. I thought the music was really good in this.
See, that's interesting because in the original film, she has a very small part. And she's just known as the joke fat girl called Martha Dunstock, who they call Dump Truck. And she has a very minor role in the musical, and in the movie. But it was nice to for her to take that character and just give it more life.
I wanted her character to be bigger on the stage version, though, and I know it was obviously bigger. Trust
me. In the musical, she's got a lot more attention than she does in the film.
But I found her really charming, and I thought she was a superb vocalist as well. I thought they were all great vocalists, but
what really upsets me, I'm sorry, but there's a character who's not even in the musical that you're just like, oh, how can you not make a musical without this character? And there's a character called Betty Finn,
who was a big character in the film.
Yeah, she's a big character in the not a big character, but a notable character in the film.
What do you think the reasons for that were then?
I don't know. Maybe they just couldn't figure out a way to meld her in. But
was she an offensive character?
No, she's basically Veronica's best friend, childhood friend, before Veronica becomes popular. So Veronica kind of disses her a little bit. But in the TV show, she is a very big character and has a big role. So it's like, I wish the musical would have given some Betty Finn love.
Yeah. Well, I did really enjoy it. I'm not saying I didn't enjoy it, but I think maybe part of that is because I haven't seen the original movie. It'd be interesting to actually go back and watch it again, having seen it.
Yeah.
Just to see if that changes, because I've probably got more of an understanding of the story too. Because I just thought it was quite odd, but I like odd, so
it was
odd is good.
It was very odd, the musical. I really did enjoy it though. As a Heather super fan of the original film, and I do love the TV show. The musical didn't let me down. I just think it was very funny the way they did it, but it just boggles my mind how this is some people's first introduction, even you, Phil,
I know,
to Heathers. I'm just like, this is not what Heathers is supposed to be. To me, it's almost kind of like a parody, a really good one, like on Saturday Night Live, but this is not what Heathers is supposed to be. I love it. I'm glad you did it.
Yeah.
But I just wish everyone could love and appreciate the original movie as much as I do.
I need to get out more, obviously.
And it's so good, too, that this musical is starting really to become super famous here in London, because they've done some small versions of the musical before. The musical's been around for a while, and I've always been like, damn, I missed it. And even the first run at the other place, where it's actually called The Other Place, I believe.
Right. And now it's
could not get a ticket to it. And I'm glad they moved it to the new theater.
Theatre, Haymarket,
because it needs to be in that sort of environment.
It's a cute little theatre. It's quite a small theatre. I mean, I felt, we were on the end of the aisle, so I didn't feel that hemmed in. But I think if I'd been in the middle, I would have felt. But then I guess the audience, with their atmosphere they were giving off, is a great place to be, isn't it? You feel like you're actually in a school hall.
That sort of Rocky Horror Picture Show kind of feel to it, which is good. It's
another cult favourite, isn't it? So Heather's musical, I think it's actually closing at the end of November, so hopefully this video will be out in time.
Get your tickets.
Yeah. For its final run, but it's been well received. I think the critics
very critically acclaimed. Yeah. So.
We should do more of these musical reviews.
Well, we did Clockwork Orange.
We did.
Yeah.
That was before Boys on Film, wasn't it? So we need to expand our horizons a little bit. So who knows where we'll be next. Thank you for watching as always. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and like the video, and we'll see you soon.